Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Spencer.
Dan.
This is the Board Game Rundown. Today we are going to do our top 10 spookiest games. I don't know, scary games, horror-themed games.
Horror-themed,
Creepy,
something
macabre.
Halloween-y games we like. Oh, is that not it?
Well,
I mean, I do like all the games on my list.
yeah, what games do you want to play around Halloween time because they're spooky themed?
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Perfect. That was a great list, Bob.
Yeah, thank you.
Good job.
Yeah. You know what people should be doing though? Liking, subscribing, ringing the bell, doing all those fun YouTube things.
Whoa,
Comment down below.
Those things are spooky.
You know what would be really scary is every single person that watched this movie commented below.
It's
That
a
would be
movie
so
now.
scary. That's
Yeah.
right. This is a movie. This is a feature film.
Nice.
Moving pictures.
Moving pictures. They are moving.
And tell your friends.
Yeah. Sure.
As we get into this, quick caveat for my list is just because of how I tend to think of games being scary and spooky stuff, I tend to just go for games that, horror themed, sure. But atmospheric is tend to what I search for. So if a game is less horror than something else, like art-wise and stuff, but I just really get into the atmosphere of the game every time, there will be some examples of that. That's the games that stick out to me. I want to play atmospheric games around Halloween for the most part. So
It's funny because my number one is probably the one game that has legitimately made me jump while playing it.
nice. I actually look forward to hearing that then.
I think I know what it is.
Yeah. But we, I think mine is sort of a mix of what Dan is talking about. I've got some games where, yes, the atmosphere definitely permeates through and creates that ambiance, that experience. And then other games are more like, well, that's a horror-themed game.
Right.
And it is horror, things that are happening.
Adjacent.
Yeah. Or directly.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that's totally fair. Anybody have anything else they want to add before we get into the list?
I had a much more thorough and better list last night in a book. I have forgotten my book, so you get paper from memory.
List B.
List B. So.
The only other thing I'll say, I guess, is I look forward to hearing your guys' games because you guys have played a lot of games that I haven't played that I wish I could have put on my list. An example, I don't know if it'll show up, so sorry for spoiler stuff, but like I haven't played Fury of Dracula. If that's on someone's list, I'm like, I wish I could have even thought of it, thought about it because I just haven't had a chance to play it. Shut the hell up.
Anything else, Spencer, before we go? You look like you were going to say something.
Nope.
All right.
Number 10.
Number 10. Bobby.
I will consult. This is probably my most atmospheric
Cool.
game. The Night Cage.
Oh,
I was feeling that was going to be on the list
I
somewhere.
meant to write that one down and forgot because I don't own it. But man, is that game
Yeah, so it's like
atmospheric.
tile exploration, and it comes with these little candles that you can put on the board and dim the lights down, and you're just trying to explore, trying to find keys and find your way out without falling through pits and being devoured. So
Yeah,
Yes.
a fantastic atmospheric game.
Yes.
I mean, like most atmospheric board games, you have to put some effort in to make it atmospheric, dim the lights and stuff, but well worth it. You're right.
Yeah.
Great pick.
Yeah, I mean, even when we played it in broad daylight, the artwork
The art
and
is
stuff
creepy.
is
Yeah.
really creepy.
Yeah.
And
It
it really
looks
does,
like shadows.
and the way that the miniatures are, like that you're moving around,
Yeah.
all look really creepy. I love the whole style and theme of
Yeah.
that game, and it's fun on top of that.
Yep.
Right. So Night Cage, that's a good one. My number 10 is the hardest co-op I've ever played in my entire life, and that is Ghost Stories.
I was going to say, Rob's Crusoe's not scary.
So Ghost Stories is it's Japanese themed, I believe, and you are protecting your village. So it's a fully cooperative game, and you are protecting your village from these ghosts that are coming, and you are trying to defeat them and then hold them off until you can get to the main boss. But you play like these monks, and so you're going around and you are you're going to the different locations on the exterior to fight off the ghosts that might be there. But then those locations might also give you an ability you can do and stuff. And man, is that game super hard, but it's a lot of fun. I really like it. And the theme is really neat if you're into sort of like a Asian culture, if you like that sort of thing. And I don't know if it's Chinese or Japanese, so I apologize in advance.
Right.
But it is definitely of that part of the world,
Sure.
and the theme is very strong in there, right? Like it all comes through. It is all that style of ghost, and because they're like they're vampires and all their monsters are such a unique to our own culture, right? Take on that. So it's really interesting, and I think that they do a really good job with it.
Cool.
So Dan.
My number 10 is atmospheric in a really funny way to me, and that's The Thing, Infection at Outpost 31. This is the op version, currently rated 1995 on board games.
It should be rated
it's a
higher.
little, that's a little lower than I was expecting, but I should point out, I honestly wish I could put the Pendragon one on this list, the thing by Pendragon Studios, whatever their company name is called. But I've still only played the lower player count with Spencer. I haven't done an actual full playthrough with the higher player count. Yeah. But like I do find the board design and stuff of that version way more, gritty and atmospheric.
Okay.
To where the thing in the Op version is very clean. It almost has like that smartphone look. Everything's like white and like very
snow.
modern.
Well, there's snow on the board.
Right.
So it's
well,
a
I mean,
winter theme.
It's a winter theme.
It is.
It's barely a horror. It's almost more of a winter theme.
Right. Winter horror, best kind.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I find this one funny atmospheric is because I do really get into the theme of it, and especially, man, last time we played, we had the theme song playing on the TV. It's just that boom, boom. Oh, it makes the game so much better. Those two notes are so good. But then it's funny, though, because I find it personally, and not everyone I've played with has found it this way, but I also find it oddly relaxing to play, unlike other hidden trader games like a Battlestar Galactica, Unfathomable, even like Dead of Winter, stuff like that. Because I just really get into the theme of, like, why panic? We're all stuck in this ice space together. Let's work through this. One of us is evil, but there's literally no way to know that.
You usually feel so relaxed because you're the evil guy.
Right.
Just trying to get through.
The one who sleeps well at night is the killer.
Yeah.
Right?
I find it relaxing in that game. Like I'm just kind of in character as like this guy sitting at this base, and it's just like, okay, let's think of this logically. Let's not run around screaming. We're literally just gonna waste our energy and die from the cold. Let's think about this.
Right.
And I like it that it's a relaxing, atmospheric, horror-themed game to me. I like that a lot. But that's my number 10, The Thing, Infection at Outpost 31.
Relaxing and horror. Mine is actually a family game. I felt I needed to have one, and it's called Shadows in the Forest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it takes place literally in the dark. You want to get the room as dark as possible. And one player has a lantern, and he plays the light, I guess, and he's moving around the board trying to find the shadow creatures. The shadow creatures have to move, and they can't cross the light at any point. And so if they get captured by the light, they get stunned. And if all of them can be stunned at once, the light wins. Otherwise, the creatures can win. So my kid likes it. It takes place in the dark. I just thought,
Yeah, and it's got that little battery, like lantern that you use.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that game also.
Yep.
Spencer?
And the glow-in-the-dark little masks on the guys.
They're cute.
I love the idea of this game so much.
It is
I have
pretty
not
fun.
played it, but I've seen pictures and stuff, and I love the idea of this game. That is such a cool mechanic.
Yeah, it really is.
Super
Gimmick,
fun.
if you will.
But you gotta make certain it's a really dark room.
Yeah.
And that can be
So
very
the
difficult to pull
light
off.
really kind of pokes through that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I mean, even just a little bit of light, and you're like
Drowns out that
you
little
can
light.
see
And you gotta make sure
easily
you're
what's
So
bad
use a
on
brighter
or-
lantern. Get yourself like somewhere with
Yeah.
1,000 lumens and just,
Yes.
All right.
Bobby, you're number 9.
Number 9. So this game has one of my favorite mechanics we've talked about as far as turn order, and whoever is in the back end goes first. Australia.
Yeah, it's an honorable mention for me.
Yeah, so it's a Cthulhu type game. You're going down to Australia and you're landing in these ports and you're building out your cities a little bit. And as you're exploring, you're flipping over these tiles, and they can be great old ones, they can be just regular monsters, but you're having to deal with them. And as you take actions, you're going to move your piece on this time dial, and then if you're in the back, you get to keep going. And then certain actions take a certain amount of time, and then I love that kind of mechanic. I think it's a super neat. The railroads, those take a long time to build. You're not going to go again for 5 more turns. Everybody's going to do a bunch of stuff before you get to go again, because it takes a while to build railroads, and it makes sense.
Right. Yeah. No. And the theme is good.
Yeah, theme. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite Marty Wallace games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
I got that big box. We haven't had a chance to
I
bust
know
out the expansion yet.
we need to do
check it out.
the expansions for that, because I can't wait. My number 9 is probably no surprise to anybody that's watched this show before that this game would be on my list, but last Friday. So it is the Friday the 13th adjacent horror themed game where somebody is playing the killer and then everybody else is playing the camp counselors, and the thing that sets this aside from just some other games, and no, it's not my favorite hidden movement 1v many game.
Sure.
But what sets it aside and makes it unique, in addition to the theme, is that the way that you play through the different chapters, right? So you play through almost like the different movies. So in the first one, all the campers are showing up, they discover the bodies, and at the same time, the killer is going around the park trying to kill the campers. And because they kind of, the one player moves on the numbered spaces and the other player moves on, or the other players move on the not numbered spaces, right? And so if you walk over the killer or the killer walks over you, you kill them. So there's a little bit of cat and mouse there too, right? And then once you finish that mission, the board, how well you do and what you do affects board state for the second mission. And then now the campers have turned and are fighting back, and they're trying to kill Jason or the maniac.
Tommy
blah
Jarvis
blah
showed
blah.
up.
You go back and forth. It even sets up where one character is going to be the chosen one, and so then
Yeah, I
he's got to
remember
kill the
this. It was a
chosen
fun
one.
game.
And it's just goofy fun. But there is tension in that game, like any hidden movement game that does it well. There's tension there with it. It's like, well, I think he's here, but so if I go here, I may die. But I could get this thing, and I might need it, and stuff. And it does a nice thing where like if the camp counselors do die, they spawn, but they spawn with a different. Because you just use all the ones in the box. So when you run through all of the characters, if you're that unlucky, then you could lose. But yeah, they just show up at there's like a spot on the map where there's like a school bus, and it's like more camp counselors are just
Keep showing up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it sticks to the theme pretty well. And while it's not the best of these kind of games, it is enjoyable, and I like it quite a bit.
Cool.
Last Friday.
My number 9. A second ago, Tim, you said something along the lines of goofy fun or something. I wasn't
Yeah.
totally listening.
Join the club.
And my number 9, I bring up every time we talk about this topic. It was actually really high on my list last year. I think when we did this, I just love the atmosphere. I don't care that it's not balanced, and that's Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Oh, I should have written that
The
down.
Legacy one?
Any of
Honestly,
them.
the Legacy one is the most atmospheric and thematic. I
Yeah.
only played like the first
think the art on that one
two or
is better.
three scenarios, and the artwork is better for sure. But because I only played like 2 or 3 scenarios, and I played Betrayal at House on the Hill, the normal second edition, 120. I mean, I played it so many times, it's insane. And I have only one time had a repeat scenario. It's insane. Yeah, there's 150 possible scenarios, and I've probably played, I don't know, somewhere in the 60s, and I've only had one repeat. It's been insane.
Wow.
It is a good time.
Yeah.
I have a good time playing that.
Again,
every
if you're
time.
just in it for the dumb fun atmosphere, that's what it does. Because again, the game itself is it's not super balanced stuff, but it's a fun, simple mechanic. You're leveling up your characters. At some point, one of us is probably going to turn evil. If it's the strongest one out of us, that sucks. So let's try to keep everyone well balanced. It kind
Right.
of has this built-in meta to where it's like, oh, Bob's getting really high level. Bob, slow down and
Yeah,
let us
let's
catch up.
calm down a little bit.
Or like Tim's really low, let's get him built up, because
him
if one
down.
of us becomes evil, that's gonna hurt us later, kind of thing. It has that kind of thing built in. But then the cards are actually really well written and atmospheric.
Yeah.
I really like reading the cards about you discovering the skeleton on the floor and what happens and stuff. I've always mentioned my favorite card is you get a card that says you see a reflection of yourself and it
right.
reaches out and it gives you an item, and you get to draw an item from the item deck. But then later you might get a card that says you see a mirror, you reach out and have to give an item into the mirror because that's you giving it to yourself in the past, and you're discarding an item now. Super thematic. No, it's not the same item that you're discarding, and technically Bob could have to give it away and I got it. That doesn't totally make sense. But if you get both, it's one of the most fun atmospheric things I've ever had to happen in a game. And so at the end of the day, people complain about it a lot. I don't think it's fully deserved.
I just think that the people that complain about it are people that play games. They want to win, and they want to be able
Right.
to play that game optimally, and you just cannot with
Right.
that game. You
No.
just
To
have
play
to
and enjoy it.
You just have to play and
Yeah, it's
experience
dumb
the
fun.
game.
I
Yeah.
mean, we got so into it once. We played a mission that was like the Saw movies, where it's like a gas filled the room, everyone passed out, and then everyone woke up and they had collars on their necks that were going to detonate and kill us, and we had to go around the house and search for keys, and one of us had a fake collar on. And they were the hidden traitor and trying to make things harder for us and stuff like that.
Nice.
And if their collar ever exploded, it just fell off instead and revealed them as the killer. And I thought that scenario was so cool that my brother and I went out the next day and recorded a professional recording of, I wrote a script of the how it words it, like, hello explorers, it does
yeah.
that, and it's like, each of you has a collar around your neck, and he recorded that with like his kind of Saw voice he could do, and then I kind of pitched it down and added effects, and I have the theme song playing in the background. So
Nice.
and I didn't tell anyone, only he and I knew, but we played with like 5 people, and the other 3 people didn't know that I had pre-set up that scenario. We were going to that scenario today. And we played through the game. The scenario happened, and I said, okay. And I set out a tape recorder thing with the recording on it, and it goes, da-na-na, da-na-na, da-na, hello explorers. And I was like, it's so thematic.
And I guarantee you that was better than any of the Saw movies.
Yes.
Have any of you played the
I
third
love
edition?
the first one. No.
No, not
Okay.
yet.
I've been
I've
curious.
heard it.
but
I've
I
heard it was
haven't
a
played it.
lateral move.
Okay.
So
I played I played like 3 or 4 missions of the Legacy, and that's it. So I've been looking to pick up a normal version of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if the 3rd edition is worth it.
basically, I've heard if you don't own it, get the 3rd one. But it's a lateral move. It does some things
you have the
better,
2nd,
some
don't
things worse.
need to get the 3rd.
Yeah, that's what I've basically heard.
Okay.
And, like my favorite scenario on that one is where you are all shrunk except for one,
Oh, right.
and the one guy who's a mad scientist lets his cats loose.
Yep. Yeah, you're all yeah. Well, it might be a different scenario because there's 150, but yeah, and one of them, everyone's turned into a mouse, but one person's turned into a cat, and the
no, that's
mice have to escape or something, and then you have to like build the toy airplane.
Oh, yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, amazing. No
Crazy.
game is ever the same.
Yeah,
It's
that's
my
fine.
Pretty
game.
fun.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I have a good time with it. That's a really good pick.
Okay.
Spencer, you're number
My
9.
Number 9 is a game that it reminded me of a movie and book that I really enjoyed. Meets Lovecraft. Sphere. Have you ever heard of Sphere?
The Michael Crichton.
The Michael Crichton book
Yeah.
and movie. Well, this is called Deep Madness.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's like
You've played Deep Madness?
it was years ago.
Okay.
And it was like once, but it was awesome.
I think
And
I played part of a game of Deep Madness
Adam
with your
Meeple.
brother. Yeah.
We
And-
brought it.
Yeah, it's Lovecraft in the deep sea,
Right.
and it's a cooperative game. I think it's 1 to 6 players, and like it's Lovecraft in the deep sea, and like you have devour is one of the actions that happens, and spawning is one of the actions that happens. So
It felt like Nemesis meets the Abyss.
Yeah.
To me when
Okay.
I played it.
yeah.
I remember it having a really interesting player turn system. The way that it had like this thing that moved back and forth across this bar, switching between players and the AI in like this weird back and forth way. I remember something about that. But I enjoyed the play, and I thought about it for this, but I've only played it once. But you're
Yeah.
right that atmosphere, I thought the game nailed.
Yeah, that's what
I
I
just don't
wanted.
remember.
And the
if it was a great game
art
or
and the
not.
minis were all really good too.
Yeah.
I remember that being really good.
Oh,
but-
if you don't mind really dark art. Not
Oh,
like not like dark as in scary, but dark as in
What is that?
no lights are on
Yeah.
in this
No,
space, and
no,
it's hard
no.
to see some stuff.
I'm the
that's the
best
point.
painter in the dark.
yeah. Good pick. Good pick. Bobby,
Yeah.
number
8. My number 8. What do I have here? Ooh, speaking of H.P. Lovecraft, probably my favorite H.P. Lovecraft
Oh,
games.
then I know
One
what
of
it is.
them, Cthulhu, Death May Die. It's a very neat. You pick a scenario, and you're also going to pick a elder god to fight against, and it's cooperative. And there's probably 20, 30 different characters to choose from.
if you backed it on Kickstarter.
Yes. Okay. Well, who doesn't? Sorry. But the cool thing is like the crazier you get, the more abilities you unlock. And so you want to go a little bit crazy, but you got to kind of balance it as to not get too crazy. And there's just so many different abilities that you can use, spread across all the different characters. And I don't know, like all the different ones I played, like Arkham Horror, Eldritch Horror, Cthulhu Death May Die. Like it's one of my favorite iterations of a H.P. Lovecraft type of game that there is. Like the scenarios are a lot of fun.
I think I've only heard good things about this one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you play with my brother?
I don't think so.
Oh no. Okay.
Maybe.
He played some Cthulhu game with you
Okay.
one night when he
It's-
was available and I wasn't. I couldn't remember.
Possible.
Evil High Priest.
I thought it was Death May Die because it's
It
like
was
you guys were
probably.
playing some level up system wrong or something. I thought you guys talked about when like the first time you played it or something. I don't remember.
I don't remember. It was a while ago. I haven't played a game with him in years.
Yeah, who is he?
Who is? Yeah, I played it once. I thought it was fine, but I don't know. It
I
didn't
have
seem-
not only heard great things, just so you know.
it didn't seem- it
Starting
didn't
5
seem
seconds ago.
That great to me. It seemed fine. It seemed kind of overhyped, but
Well, I mean,
but people love it.
yeah, I think a lot of people saw like the big, huge Cthulhu thing, and they're
Right.
like, forget that
Yeah,
game.
stupid,
Who
what a
needs it?
waste.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like,
it
well,
looks great.
It looks very cool.
It's
I haven't actually played that
technically-
mission
It's
yet.
technically used too, which
Yeah.
is super
Yeah,
cool.
right.
Still way too much. But
Exactly.
cool.
But
Well,
it's very
and
cool,
It
art
set the
piece.
precedent for like future CMON Kickstarters, where it's like, oh, we're gonna do a giant Galactus, but hey, it's not just this one. You could get the zombie Galactus, like,
Right.
so that way you can spend
Sure.
$1,000
Yes.
and then still have to buy a bunch of add-ons to get everything for the game.
Yes.
Come on.
Exactly. My number 8 might be my most played game on this list. It might be
Nice.
my most played game ever because it will be hard to surpass.
Oh.
But Growl.
Yes.
Oh.
Growl is a horror-themed sort of social
Werewolfy.
deduction game. It is werewolfy for people that don't like werewolf, I would
Yes.
say. Because you're going through this deck of cards. You have to give cards to other players. You cannot take it to yourself. You're either giving out bites or wounds or maybe coins. And the goal of the werewolves is to change or kill everyone not a werewolf.
Yes.
So at the very end, when you reveal all of your roles, if there is even one human surviving, the humans win.
Boo.
And if the no, it's ow. Not
Oh yeah.
boo.
Ow.
So close.
If the werewolves turn everybody or kill everybody, then the werewolves win. You cash out, you get your coins, and then you play like 3 rounds. Winner. And
Most
there's
coins at the end.
there's a fun card exchange aspect of it too, where
Yep.
you're really trying to figure out who is what. Just a delightful game. I have a great time playing it, and it's so much fun. Even Bob, who doesn't like werewolf
It's
style
one of my favorite
games,
types of werewolf games.
is just a blast, and I can get it played all the time. So
We should point out for any like new viewers and stuff, if you've heard of or played Stranger Things: Attack of the Mind Flayer, same thing.
same game
So-
with the Stranger Things theme. I could have put the Stranger Things one on my list in lieu of that, but I was introduced to Growl.
Sure. Well, yeah, Growl has a higher production value. Stranger Things has a more like
Mainstream.
beloved theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe we did
so-
a video on that one, didn't we?
We did.
We did a video on both.
We did.
Thanks,
Oh, yeah,
Joey.
you're right.
Friend of the show.
Friend
I'm
of
just
the
gonna call
show.
Joey Figure a friend
Good
of the show.
job.
We mispronounced his last name wrong.
Multiple.
In all fairness,
We mean
we
him.
said that Viger sounds better, and he agreed.
He did. But super good dude. Anyways, Growl is my number 8.
My number 8, I'm not going to go too into because it's already been mentioned, so I'll just give some stats. It came out in 2021, and is currently sitting at 2287, but that doesn't mean much because it's so new. By Smirk and Laughter Games, I guess it's called, and that is The Night Cage.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic atmospheric
It's great.
game.
Yeah.
Super great.
that was
I've
my
never heard
honorable
anybody say a
mentions.
bad thing about that game. Spencer, now crap on that game.
It was a terrible game.
We have to keep doing that.
yeah.
Again, it's going through again the mechanic that you didn't really go into earlier, so I kind of want to mention
yeah,
it.
please
the
do.
Whole, like the main gimmick mechanic. I overuse the word gimmick lately. I don't know why, but the whole mechanic of that game that's so cool is that as you're moving, you're revealing tiles in the shadow. But as shadows are dropping behind you, those tiles leave the board.
Yes.
So you're moving around, and you can only see the tiles within your line of sight, within light distance. And so the map is constantly changing, like one of those classic horror movies kind of things where you're like walking down a tunnel, and then you turn around and there's a wall behind you all of a sudden, and you're like, well, how's that there? I just
Yeah.
walked from there, kind of thing. Like that's constantly happening in this game as
Yeah.
the tiles in the cave or whatever it is constantly
Shifting
shifting
and
around
moving in the
you.
darkness. Yeah.
And it's just really cool and
Yeah,
thematic.
it's so good. I love
Anyway,
it.
that
It's
is
a great
the
game.
Night Cage.
It's great.
Well chosen, Bob.
Thank you.
Just not as well chosen as Dan chose it.
Right.
Okay.
It should have been 8.
He chose it better.
Oh well, I bet on my old list it was probably
That's
eight.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Forgiven.
My number 8 is it's on here because it's one of that I played as when I was a kid and I loved it. And they've made some new versions. Arkham Horror.
Yeah, that's an honorable mention for me.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I played the old one, 1985 or something like that.
Oh,
or
brag.
87. And I played the heck out of that game.
He
with
was
my
only a
sister.
young lad of 42 back then.
The good old days.
And then when the second edition came out, and we played the heck out of that one. I have not had a chance to play the third edition,
It's fine.
but I mean, I love the game.
Yeah.
I've not had a chance to play it. Seems cool. I do enjoy Eldritch Horror.
Haven't
I've not
played
had plans
Eldritch.
to play that one, but I do want to play it.
Yeah.
yeah, some
do
people I
wanna
know
play
like prefer the Eldritch, but
Right.
like I like the Arkham people. I know like Arkham more too, but I think Arkham is more fiddly and takes a little longer.
Sure.
It's definitely a long game.
Levi is almost too big of a fan of Eldritch.
Yes,
He
I
wants to
mentioned
play
one
it
time.
every 5 seconds.
I mentioned one time that my friend Chris wanted to play that. He's like, "So does Chris want to play that tonight?" And I was like, "No, he has to work in the morning." But yeah,
Nice.
All
Nice.
right.
All right. Arkham Horror was your number 8.
takes us to number 7. So actually, this was a little audible I just called because I forgot this one was on my list before, and when Tim mentioned Growl, it reminded me because it has a card pass mechanic in it. Stay away.
Mm-hmm.
And I own it. Like I've played this game, Tim's version, probably 3 or 4 times, and I really enjoyed it. So I went out and bought my own copy, yet to play it, and that was probably 4 or 5 years ago. So it's still sitting in its little spot unwrapped, but I really enjoy this game. So
make sure you have sleeves for the cards.
that's kind of what would it be, 2 different colored sleeves, right? Because remember yours being 2 different
Yeah,
colors.
yeah.
Yeah. So I got to do that. But you're basically sitting there. It's kind of like thing related, right? Because as you get the cards that are the thing related, you kind of become the thing, and then you're passing cards left and right, and you can turn other people into thing. You can make people change seats. You can build up walls so people can't pass you cards. You can lock people out, and it's just I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
How the way that worked.
Yeah, it's pretty
I
fun.
love the sound of this game. You
Yeah.
guys have talked about it a lot, and again, that kind of growl thing, but like the thing themed, and then
It's-
also with these like weird mechanics, like building walls and like everything you
Yeah.
guys
Oh,
say.
it
just
Close the door behind you, and so
Yeah,
basically like,
that
the guy
stuff
next
is
to you
so
can't pass you a
cool.
card. Yeah, it's cool.
It's great.
You guys have sold me.
It is great.
Yeah, well, let's get my copy played.
Let's do it.
Never mind. I'm
Stay away.
Yeah. Oh.
Stay away. My number 7 has already been mentioned because I placed it better than Dan did, and that's Infection at Outpost 31. The things. No, it's a great game. I have a really
It's
good
fun.
time every time we played it. I was with Dan when we played it with the soundtrack
Yep.
going, and it made it even better. I have played this game at very high player counts, and there's been a lot of accusations. There are still stories that we tell from playing that game, right?
Yeah.
And so when you can do that, like in a game leaves an impression like that on you, it is the reason why I play board games and love them so much, is the experiences that I get to have with my friends, and then these paper war stories that we tell, for years on end, and it was I knew it was Dan the
knew it
whole
was you.
time,
Yeah,
and it totally wasn't Dan, it was actually Spencer, but we fought the whole time, or whatever. Like anytime where we come away from a game and it's like, and you spend a half an hour breaking it down or more,
Yeah.
like after the fact, you do the post-mortem on it.
Right,
it's
right.
like, that's a sign of a really good time,
Yep.
So I'm really glad it was on somebody else's list, and I wanted it on my list anyways. But yes, Infection at Outpost 31, The Thing.
Nice.
It's my number 7.
it's a good choice.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
My number 7. Can you use it in a sentence? My number 7, I'm sure will show up later, or someone's about to call an audible. I've only played this game twice, I think, and it's a really good game that I kind of want to own, but I just don't, and that's Abomination: The Heir of Frankenstein.
That's an honorable mention for me.
Plaid Hat Games, very recently 2019 release. Actually, though, 927, not bad. Still moving up, semi-new, still moving
Yeah.
up, but 927, I wish it was a little higher. Just honestly, on my list, as far as like horror themed goes, this might be the biggest, because like you're just straight up murdering people, and
Well,
there's
it's one option.
yeah, and you take it every time. But no, you're like going to the back alley and stabbing people, and you're taking bodies from the morgue. And
Yeah,
you're- and you're
maybe there
putting
was an
flesh.
execution that day.
You're right.
Yeah, that's right. You can dig up the graveyard.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
you
that
can dig up the
I'm sure that this
graves.
isn't on anyone else's list.
Right.
like,
Probably not.
for today.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're literally like building the skeletons and
I-
skin,
and
like
it
in
looks
this
great.
in this actual
fantastic.
body on your player board that you're putting the arms and stuff.
Yeah,
on.
it's like muscles and skeleton.
Right.
Then you flip them over when you flesh them
Yeah.
out. Then you got to zap them with electricity to get them
Right.
animated.
As far as theme goes, this is probably my number 1 or 2. It's just not like my favorite game. I haven't played it enough to love it that much. But man, if you want an amazing, like just
Yeah.
thematic Halloween game, the only issue I have with the game is it plays a little long.
It's a little long.
It's a
I
little
mean,
long.
it pushes 3 hours sometimes.
Sometimes
yeah,
if it's
I said
learning and
sometimes,
AP,
yeah.
yes, but you can knock it out in about 2.
Yeah, but even 2 for
I
that
would-
kind of game
I
is
would
long
expect
for most
2
games.
and
It's
I would
mainly
expect
worker placement.
2 to
Right.
2.5.
Yeah.
But if you enjoy the theme,
Right.
and it does tell a story as you play it,
It does, yes.
then it's worth the time invested. I had a great time
Yeah.
when I played it.
Actually, Julia Khan, I got to play. I think I'm not sure if Mike played or not, but Darcy wanted to play, and I'm like,
sure.
I'm in.
Because she taught us to
Yeah.
play. Yeah.
And then of course we go to grab Patrick and Julia's copy, and it's still in shrink.
Oh,
so I
of
gotta
course.
I
You
gotta
gotta
punch
punch
it
it
and
out.
assemble it. And
There's
I'm
a
like,
lot of things.
I've got this
Man, if
fancy
only you
copy.
had 72 hours to do that.
I know, yeah. Well, I mean, like, if I would know we were gonna play, I have like the fancy bits, you
I
know, and then like one of our
know.
viewers made me this cool 3D printed like
Yeah.
insert
Yeah,
for it, which
yeah,
is
that's the one-
badass.
that's the one that you took, yeah.
So cool.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Anyway, Abomination. Look, it's a great game.
Great
Great
pick. Great pick. Go on. I'll go on later.
In the same kind of idea of the theme, I went with My Father's Work.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
I was wondering if people were gonna put
Yeah.
this.
That is the game I think that is the reason why Abomination will be forgotten.
Maybe.
might be.
As I think My Father's Work.
The thing is, though, is my father's work. You're not always just completing.
No,
a
no,
thing.
no. We already talked about the thing.
Oh wow. The thing is.
Gotcha.
No, here's the thing though. For me personally, as far as this I just got onto that. God dang it.
Got him.
So here's the stuff I'm going to say.
Okay.
Like the stuff. Have you seen that horror movie?
Oh my gosh, it's the right stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Abomination is number 7 for me, and My Father's Work is an honorable mention for me. Because as far as this list and theme goes, My Father's Work wasn't the most thematic horror thing for me. The story's awesome. The gameplay's awesome. I can't wait to play it again. But, like, it would never replace it theme and season-wise for me. It's a better game, I think.
Sure.
Me, personally.
It's funny because everything you just said, I kind of disagree with in why Abomination is an honorable mention. And
That's
My Father's
crazy
Work
to
is
me.
on my list.
That's
because
crazy to me.
I
feel
like
the
My
total
Father.
opposite.
I don't get me wrong. I love Abomination, but I
Right.
think My Father's Work is a superior game, in my
No, I
opinion.
agree. That's not what this list is.
Oh,
all I'm saying.
sure. But also thematically, I thought the story and the theme and the way that your town can evolve, depending between the generations.
Right.
I'm not saying
I
you're
love that.
wrong. I'm
It's got
just
a
saying.
creepy
I'm
meter.
just saying.
And the creepier you get, the mob comes after you.
Yeah,
I mean,
I love
what's not
the
to love about
creature.
that?
I love
Listening
the
to
fact
the
that-
things hit differently.
Yeah,
you know?
all the different
Hey, Spencer,
experiments you
what's
do.
your
I'm the one who did it. I love the
But
fact
you did it in the
have-
wrong place because
did
it's
it
not
in
the
the
same
wrong
time
place.
as mine.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
exactly.
screwed up the number.
Yeah.
I just love that just look at the experiment cards that you're doing.
Yeah.
Some of them are just absolutely crazy things.
Yeah, time travel or lycanthropy.
Yeah,
Like
you'll
Lycanthropy.
get there.
Yeah.
Oh yes, and like I made myself into a mechanical man, and
Yeah.
but, I mean there were like genetic experiments you could do in that one, and I love the cards, I love the art, I love the
Bits
story.
the bits are fantastic.
The fact you have a little Igor going around, Igor,
Yeah.
Igor.
Depends on which book you read.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's still Igor.
What hump?
Yeah.
So that's my number 7.
All right.
No,
Number-
great choice again.
Yeah,
I
it's good choice.
I don't mean to knock in the game at all. It's a fantastic
No.
game. It's the best mad scientist game I've ever played.
Absolutely.
Best
Absolutely.
horror game. I don't know. That's just to me.
Sure. No, that's totally fair. Totally fair. Number
6. This is another one I usually try to play around this time of year all the time. Actually, when I first got it, I specifically requested it for my birthday because it came with all of the characters from Monty Python and the Quest for the Holy Grail.
I know which
another
one
fun.
this is.
Zombicide, Black Plague. So Black Plague is, in my opinion, the best version of Zombicide that there
Agreed.
is. They fixed a lot of the dumb rules, even though in version 2 of regular Zombicide they did fix the dumb
But it
rule.
was too late by then.
By then it was too late. We had already house ruled it, so too bad for you. You're too slow. But like I enjoy like a lot of the abominations and monsters that you get, like the catapults and stuff. Like a lot of and just all the characters that came with that. If you kickstarted it, it came with so many cool people like David Bowie, Xena Warrior Princess, the Braveheart, all the guys. I said.
Classic horror icons.
Classic or
Like
icons.
Ash, right?
Ash is in there. Yes,
yeah.
thank
Well, you
you.
can't do
that?
without Ash.
Evil.
You know from Pokemon?
He's about to be voted off this panel.
Oh, catch 'em, of
Yeah,
course.
catch him if you can. But no, I love Zombicide. I love like the kind of level up system. And sure, it's maybe a little basic, but like I enjoy it. I love just the mindless zombie horrors coming at you. And let me
Black
see how many
Plague
I can
is a
take
blast.
out. Yeah.
It is a blast. Actually, a game that I have on my shelf I want to put on this list, but I can't because I haven't played it yet, is the Zombicide Night of the Living Dead edition.
okay.
Because that does like a movie, like it goes into Romero mode, and then like if one of the characters dies, they come back. And you have the zombie version of their figure.
Nice.
and things like
Awesome.
that.
That
And
is cool.
And so there's some effects that can go based on whether you're black and white or whether you're color.
Right,
Based
right.
on the
Yeah.
version of the movie. So it's I'm sure it's going to be very much Zombicide, right?
Right.
But mechanically, it does something a little bit different. And that is one of the first horror movies I ever remember seeing, and it scared the crap out of me.
Right.
The original Night of the Living Dead. You know, of course, when you're 4, that movie will terrify you. Unless you're Spencer, because when that movie came out, he was like 32
Yeah.
I remember watching that one.
Yeah. We know.
in theaters. But no, yeah, Zombicide,
Yeah.
Black Plague is. I had Zombicide just as a blanket,
Sure.
as a honorable mention because for what it does, it is a fun game, and it is fun to just mow down a bunch of zombies.
It is. Yeah.
And the Black
Oh,
Plague,
look, Molotov.
yeah. And the Black Plague version is so much fun. I just really like they really improved the game, like in a lot of ways, not just getting
Rid of the
fixing-
dumb rule.
Yeah, but they actually really did improve the game and give you some interesting things like with the necromancers and things like that.
Sure. Yeah. Opening extra gates and
Yeah,
stuff.
the gates. Yeah.
I've only played the original once a super long time ago, so need
Yeah.
more
Definitely- you should
Zombicide
definitely
in
play
my
this
life.
Okay. I could use a little. My number 6 is why Bob is wrong because he had this in the wrong place on his list.
Checks
and,
out.
and that is Stay Away.
Nice. I didn't even see that on your list. when I
Yeah.
looked at it earlier.
This was one of the first games I knew to write down because
Okay.
it's again, this is a game that always has like there's so many experiences and stories that come out of this because again, we're gonna play, and it's gonna be like, man, when you gave me that card, or you put that, you locked that, you barricaded that door, and I couldn't pass you this card, like this happened, and so then I had to go and do this, and that game, like, there's events that literally make people get up and change seats.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you put a door up there. I'm gonna change seats with you so I can sit next to that door.
So it's not just like Growl, which I love Growl, but this is way more interactive and more intense than Growl, and is actually more of a horror theme, or feels more horror themed.
Right, because there's more things you can do. Like you can't use a flamethrower.
And it starts where one person is the thing, and that is the only person, like in Growl, that can pass the thing cards, right? So to infect other players.
Checks out.
And again, they are trying to get everyone infected by the end, but there's like a flamethrower card, that will let you just kill somebody.
Yep.
But
Player elimination.
As you say this, it just seems so familiar. I don't remember playing it, but I think I might have played it with you.
You might have. They were in black and red sleeves.
Yeah.
That's not going to help.
But anyways.
Not very many games like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, it is a super fun experience. It's not like this. It's not as smooth as Growl because there's a little more like, it's not fiddly because you're not manipulating things.
But there's a little bit more going on.
There's so many more details in the cards and the actions that you can do.
And you're choosing cards, and it's not just like, oh, this top card has to go to somebody. Okay, it's your turn. Okay, this top card has to go to somebody.
No, you're drawing a card, and then you're going to play a card, basically. And then after, I believe it's like everybody goes, and then you pass cards.
Something like that. It's been a while since we played.
Yeah, it has been a while. But you also, who handed you what in this, I believe. And you're like...
But once you become a thing, you want the things to win. So you don't want to react like sourly because then people are going to know that, okay, well, those two are obviously things now, so let's steer clear of them.
Yeah. It is very much your job to now protect the thing because I believe that the thing has to survive to the end.
The main thing?
Yeah. Thing 1 and thing 2. But anyways, Stay Away is super fun. I had actually missed the Kickstarter, saw they did the late pledge, and the late pledge just closed. I emailed the company and asked them if I could buy a copy. And
really?
Yeah, they let me buy a copy.
Wow, nice.
And that's how I got mine.
That was a while ago, too.
Yeah.
Nice.
You want to give us money? Sure.
Yeah. Well, you never know.
Sometimes, though, the logistics are going to be difficult for them to do.
Yeah, because I think I actually got it from like, it's a European company that made it.
Oh, okay.
So, because I believe that is an early Pendragon games. And they are like, I don't know, European.
Good call.
You got it, dude. That was my number 6, Stay Away.
Sounds good.
My number 6, I found out recently you've played. I'm pretty sure you two both haven't played it. I played it years ago. I liked it. I wanted to play it more. Didn't happen. Recently, I beat the video game that it's based on, and so I wanted to go back and play it again.
Oh, okay.
And it's a really good game, and that's Bloodborne.
Yeah,
the board game. So it's kind of in this middle area on my list because I think mechanically and stuff, it's a really sound, good dungeon crawl board game. But at the same time, it does a really good job with the theme and atmosphere too from the video game. It's not perfect, and honestly, yes, after playing it a couple times, there's some small stuff that I would want to house rule, but not because it fixes game mechanics and makes it more fun, which is kind of what you have to do in the Dark Souls board game.
Right.
Is like, oh, this is a good themed game, but it's kind of a slog. Let's kind of get this to where this game isn't a slog at all. It's really fun, but you're kind of like, I kind of want to work the rally system into this game somehow from the video game, like this would be really fun and stuff like that, But yeah, at the end of the day, it's cooperative. There is technically PvP in the expansions, but it's cooperative dungeon crawl that actually you play through like multiple scenarios, and then they're actually like story-driven kind of scenarios to where like you'll meet an NPC and it'll have text on the NPC and it'll say, take this NPC to the chapel. When they get there, read card 27, and then when you get them there, you read card 27, and you might get special items from them or
they
effects,
become a zombie and kill you.
Bloodborne. Yeah, Bloodborne, right?
I remember getting overwhelmed in that game a couple of times.
But Bloodborne from the video game has a really cool mechanic to where you have I don't know what they're called, flip weapons,
the flip
switch
things,
weapons. I don't know, trick weapons. I think maybe to where like so you might have a straight sword, right? That it's like a cane. It's a cane sword, right? And you like poke people, you fight people with it, and it has some deck building in it. There's so much to explain because I know you guys haven't played it. It has like deck building to where you have 12 cards. And then every time you level up by getting like experience from killing enemies, you buy cards from a market and you put them in your deck. And for every card you add, you have to take one out.
I like
so
it.
you'll always have 12 cards in your deck.
I like
and you
that.
choose every scenario when you start, you choose what 12 cards. So you always have access to every card you've ever gotten.
Sure.
And you look at the scenario and you choose which 12 you're building your deck with. And then
That's
every
cool.
action
Yeah.
you
Oh, very
take,
cool.
you have to play a card. So if you're moving, you play a card, and if the card has any text on it, you activate that text. When you're fighting, your weapon has spots on it for different attacks. Like I'm going to do a thrust, I'm going to do this, and you play the card to it, and it does damage, it does whatever the card text does, but then your weapon gets full, and when your weapon is full of attacks, because the cards stay there, you can't attack anymore because you can't play a card down. So you're like exhausted. So to use your weapon again, you have to trick weapon it, which means you flip it to the other side. And so now that cane sword, you go and it goes and turns into a whip now. And now you're using the whip on the other side that's different attacks and different, bonuses that it gives you. And so this game is all about managing your trick weapon by flipping it and managing your pistol, which is like your parry. It does a fantastic job, and I really want to get more people to play this game.
That sounds
to
really
enjoy
cool.
the
Didn't we play that with
universe
Pete
me.
one time?
I didn't.
Yeah,
You
I
did.
did.
Oh, okay. I think,
Yeah, I played with
yeah.
you. I'd love to play it with the, go beyond the first two scenarios.
Right.
Right. I
Yeah,
played
I
the
only
You're
first
asking
one.
way too much.
I
know.
played the first scenario like 3 times now.
there you go.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would like to play more. It's also really cool because the way the spawn points work is there's some enemies that start on the board, and you go through and you kill them, and you're like, well,
we're done.
This is kind of easy. But then when a spawn point happens, every enemy
single
revealed
one.
on the entire board spawns again. And so you're like, boom, and you're like, okay. And then you're exploring more and more of the map, making it bigger. And then the next spawn point happens. Boom. And now like we went from 5 enemies to 27. And you're like, this game just got exponentially more difficult.
And at one point, I was playing this. Pete, he had some mission that he was going to do because he met like a little child, and he went up way off over here, and we're all over here doing something, and he's spawning all of these monsters. Like, oh my god!
That's so funny.
Anyway, that's the Bloodborne hour. It's a fun board game.
It
If you
is
own
fun.
It sounds really
Open it
good.
up.
That's an Eric Lang, right?
It's an Eric Lang Simon game. Yep.
Yep.
My number 6, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to talk a lot about because spoilers.
Nice. I like it.
Ether Fields.
Oh, okay. Horror themed, huh?
Well, it's about dealing with nightmares,
Okay.
Okay.
and some of them are kind of creepy. And I mean, so you're going into there's the night world, and then there's the dream world, and I'm probably getting the names wrong. And in one of them, you're making a map as you're going along, and then you run into these situations where you have to go into the dream world and solve them. So that's where you start to build up the nightmare that you're going to meet at the end, and the nightmares can get really freaky. But I can't say anything about it. Even the rules are like, yeah, we'll explain that later.
Mine just showed
Stuff's
up.
happening
I
you're
haven't-
not meant to
haven't checked
understand.
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah.
All
Oh,
right.
so Spencer could just go ahead and tell you everything then.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, I've only done the first.
I'm just messing with you.
So
Number
5.
Halfway done.
Halfway there, top 5, as it were. So my number 5 is a 1v mini game. One of the first ones that I really got into and really started getting a lot of people locally in our area into some board games. You battle against the 7 deadly sins. It is called The Others.
Oh, it's so hard.
It is so hard. Like I don't think I've ever lost playing as the sin.
I've never seen the human team win.
Yeah, I think I've won as a human before, but like most time, like the most experienced player is supposed to be like the one versus
Whatever.
the many.
In 1 versus many games, Bob does not let anyone else be the one.
I just said I won as the humans one time.
Yeah,
but,
someone obviously forced your hand. That's all I'm saying.
probably. But no, it's a really cool game. Like, so you're gonna choose one of the 7 sins, and that's what the main person's gonna play against, and then the others we're gonna play. They build a team, and not only do they pick characters, but they also pick like extra characters because as they die, and they will die, they just respawn as a different character and continue to go through different missions and stuff. And it's like I got like the upgraded bits and tokens, and like I like just like the maps and how you can build them. And I don't know, I enjoy the game. I wish I could play it more, but now there's just so many other games that kind of do these types of
Right,
things. Now
right.
it's hard to get that one back to the table again. But when it first came out, I probably played it a good 6-7 times.
Yeah. It was one of the better games of that type, especially when it first came out.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. And the minis are great.
Yeah,
you know.
fantastic looking minis and stuff.
You know, it's not super hard to learn. You know, it's easy.
It's just hard to win because
Yes.
the sins are super overpowered.
Very powerful. It's very punishing if the co-op aspect does not work so
if they're
well.
not working together and the guy playing the sin is a jerk, like he'll just do mean things. It's like, oh, if I'll just make you go over here by yourself, and oh look, you're all alone, and
Yeah.
dead. Spawn somebody else. Oh look, you spawned by yourself.
Oh.
Dead.
Game sounds fun.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
All right. My number 5 is not necessarily the scariest game on my list, but it is a horror-themed game that I enjoy quite a bit. I was very, very pleasantly surprised with how this turned out. Unfathomable
Yeah.
is my number 5. for a game that can take a little bit longer, like it is a re-theme of Battlestar Galactica, which is a great game and a game I already love, but it was hard to get BSG played sometimes. And strangely enough, I've been able to play Unfathomable a lot more.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, I have both in my collection. If anybody at any point in time is like, I want to play that one, I would never go, well, do you want to try this
Are
version?
you sure?
You know, like I got both. I would just be like, great, let's play it. And it provides a great experience. It does some really interesting and unique things with the rules. Like the things that make it different enough. And I just think it's a blast, you know, between the trader reveals and
enjoy it.
You know, and things like that. It is just a great hidden trader game with a really fun Cthulhu theme on it. Yeah, it's a good time. Unfathomable is my number 5.
My number 5's been getting a lot of hate in this group lately, and I'm not okay with it.
Oh, boy.
Bob, get on this pedestal with me. Okay. Mike played it recently and was hating on it kind of, and I think Tim doesn't love it, which is fine. And that's Letters from Whitechapel.
Yes. Really?
It's a fantastic game.
I knew that was going to be
Just
on the list.
fantastic.
Fantastic.
You have it rated in the wrong spot is all I'm going to say.
Okay, well,
it's a great game.
I'm glad to hear that because I thought that you didn't love it.
No, I just said I think it's kind of ugly.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, sure. The art's kind of ugly.
I disagree with that too, but it's fine.
It's thematic. The art is thematic, but it is ugly.
Sure.
I love how like even the rule book is like themed. Where like as you're reading through the different sections of the book, it's like Jack can wait or blood in the streets, and then you remove one of the things and you put a blood token down on the map, and that's where you murdered the wretched.
It also does it do Bob? I honestly don't remember because Whitehall Mystery does this to where throughout the rule book there's just side passages that just tell you about the actual history going on.
I think so. Yeah,
because it's really cool. Like they'll be like you're playing as 4 or 5 cops or whatever.
Detectives.
Detectives throughout it, and like throughout the pages they'll just be like a blue rectangle with the blue officer in it, and it'll just say like Colonel or Officer X was was this advanced when this case came up, and he had a really hard time trying to work through, and it just gives you historical stuff.
I enjoy that.
That's just really cool to me.
And you play as real detectives.
Right, real
detectives.
People from the time. I can't remember their names right now, which is annoying the hell.
Yeah, it was like Joe, and there was like a Reggie,
Bob.
and a Frank.
But anyway, Jack the Ripper is just an incredibly interesting theme to me.
It's the original unsolved mystery.
Right. I love listening to. There's a video on YouTube you can find where someone wrote and narrates this whole thing with like these computer images. I can't remember the channel name right now, and it's like an hour long, and I've watched it 10 times.
Yeah,
or
because
something.
this guy was here, but that was at this time when it was recorded,
Right.
so he could only be this
he's
far.
Marking out everything, and he's explaining everyone's best guesses, and you get like clips of like the not audio from then, right? But like voice over, like the letters that were written, like of the
dramatic
like witnesses and stuff. Thank you.
Dramatic readings.
And it's a fantastic YouTube. Anyway, this theme is so interesting to
great.
me, and I really think the game does a great job getting you into that theme, and like you really want to solve those murders, and Jack really wants to get away with them.
Now I say this as like as this is a hobby that is very much cult of the new. That is a 10-year-old game that still holds up. It is really good.
Yep.
Because you could play that with somebody who is newer, and they would be like, "Oh, this game's great," And it's not like, "Oh, this game feels like Catan." This game feels like a game that's 30 years old. You know what I mean? Like, no, this game is,
it's great.
Yeah, it's an older game, and it's really good.
And like you said, it's one of those games where like so many times you can walk away with a great story.
There's
that one time like when Patrick wanted to be Jack, and then like 2 turns, I was like, well, he's either here or here. It's like, I'm just gonna make an arrest here. He's like,
yeah.
It's like that was the fastest game of this I ever played.
That's never happened in the other version of that game.
Never.
Yeah, no, super fun.
I am
really
happy
good.
to ranked 309. That's a pretty good ranking. I would rank it higher, but that's 309 is for BGG, everything out there. That's a pretty admirable.
It should be at least 308 because Agricola is worse than that.
That's true.
And so
and that's rated above there.
Yeah, so it should at least be up 1 by default.
By default.
Good point.
Cool. You're welcome.
Speaking of, I just got to play Caverna for the first time.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Were you scared?
Did you like the art?
Is it on your list?
No, it's not on my list. My number 5. You turned me on to this one. Is The Bloody Inn.
The Bloody Inn should be an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Quick question about that though. So is it just an inn you own where you kill people, or is it an inn in London?
I knew that was coming.
It's actually in
Bloody
France. The inn is in France.
Okay.
Oh,
Just
is it?
I believe that is French
never
French
actually
artwork. Like it is
believe
a
you are correct,
stylized.
like, yeah.
I want to play it again. I wasn't very good the few times I played it.
Yeah, so you should just stop there.
Yeah.
Right.
The bloody end. All right.
No, keep going.
You have cards, and the more cards you have out, it gives discounts to other things you're trying to do, right?
Yeah, multi-purpose cards.
Multi-purpose cards. I love
cards.
that.
I know. That's like literally
That's like
when
my
we
thing.
do a mechanic top 10, by the way, that
knew.
better be your number one. That's all you talk about.
And you're trying to kill people. You're trying to bury them before the cops can get you, and you're trying to pay off the cops and all these stuff. And I mean, come on, you're killing people in it. And
It's super
Yeah.
fun.
It's pretty
It's
good.
really good.
It's fantastic.
It is a great
It is
game.
a-
I
it is
wanted
a
to play
great
that game for years, and we finally played it on the show, covered it, and everything like that. And wow, what a fun,
Yeah.
just mad.
Oh, it's
game.
gruesome. It is a
is
gruesome
gruesome.
game. I love it. I love it. It is a great game. Good pick, Spencer.
All right. Number 4. My number 4 is one of my favorite Peterson games. Because who doesn't love cults, especially this time of
I
year?
thought you were gonna say this.
Evil High Priest.
Yeah.
Worker placement game. You're managing your own little cult, and you've got your own sanctum where you're burying all your goods and trying to keep the detectives out. You got all the madmen running around scaring people off. That's what madmen do. All right. If Mike was here, it might be more like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it. It's a difficult worker placement, I would say, because I don't know, maybe I'm mean when I teach people. I try
you
not
are.
to be, but it just kind of happens.
You can't help yourself.
But
Just kind of happens.
Just kind of happens, but it's great. I got some asymmetrical abilities that you can use once per game, and then you're building up your sanctum, like I said, and just burying all of your goods. And you're like have these ritual tracks.
I love
where
the ritual tracks.
Yeah,
because
because
they're unique to the
every
gods.
gods. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
as you unlock the different ritual tracks, you're unlocking new worker placement places that are stronger that you can use. And there's a ritual track where like it'll use your workers for a couple of rounds, but then you'll get like returns each time they complete a section of the ritual. And I think it's just underrated. I don't think
I don't think anybody knows about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's because Peterson Games, by their own fault,
Right.
has gained a bit of a reputation, amongst the industry. They haven't helped themselves. They haven't done themselves any favors. I'm not saying that they've done anything wrong or whatever, but they just haven't done a great job of trying to improve their image. But yes, Evil High Priest is a great game. Yeah, I agree, and deserves more attention.
Yep.
My takeaway is the ritual track is amazing in that game, but my takeaway also is just because it hasn't really been brought up. I love the rating. The rating people.
Oh, you can
yeah.
raid other people's.
Well, yeah, that's why you bury your stuff in
Right,
the sanctum.
right.
So
You go
I
through it,
really-
you can put
I really
traps
like
in
how
there.
that
yeah, put
works.
traps and stuff in there. Yeah,
Yeah.
then sometimes they come in and raid you from the backside, so you have to
Right.
be careful. Watch out for that.
Yep. Not without consent.
That's right.
My number 4. I'm really tired of you guys dogging this game because this is a great game.
Because
and
it's
you guys,
Garbo.
Yeah, you heard it. Letters from Whitechapel.
Oh, I thought that was this one.
Nope.
Oh, because look at that.
So, anyways, Letters from Whitechapel, as they all just said,
Yeah.
this is a great 1v many. This is
One
like
of my favorites.
if you were going to do the horror themed, you want to kind of play a creepy game, and one person's Jack the Ripper. Doesn't get much creepier than that.
Exactly. Well, you're literally dropping body parts.
Yeah,
around,
it's great.
the
Yeah, you're
town
dropping
and
the
stuff.
bodies
Yeah.
and running back to your base. There's that. It is just a fantastic game. Almost every time there is some kind of story because you're like, well, you see, because when you went here and
Yeah.
I searched, or you guys were all over here and I was all the way over here and you guys
Yeah.
weren't even close.
They had me trapped in 2
I
spots.
love
I'm just
the
bouncing back
after
and
game
forth.
explaining.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where I was.
I really want, by the way, all you amazing viewers out there, I really want us
Both
to do
of
a
you.
live play of Jack the Ripper where we have a top-down camera and we have an overlay in your guys' video, like, a post-edit overlay to where you guys see Jack on the board
Where
with
Jack
all the
is
other
going. I
love it.
pieces.
I am
So it's because it's
in.
like,
No, wait.
know-
Hold on. Does Bob have to be Jack?
no, he
though?
won't be, as a matter of fact. Actually, Bob, you're going to be sick that day.
But just do. I work seconds, right? So you just do. Oh, we're doing it on a Tuesday. Oh, you gotta work.
That's so
Oh,
awkward.
you're right. We'll be sick and call off that day.
And then the last thing I wanted to say is it is a big game, better at higher player counts, and a little expensive. I mean, it's worth what you're getting, but it's a little up there in price. So if the game sounds interesting to you and you can only get a couple people together, get White Home Mystery.
Yeah.
It's just a lower player count, slightly cleaner version.
And
you
it's
might
really
like it.
good.
It
It's
plays
really
very
good.
similarly.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really good. But yeah, my number 4 is Letters from Whitechapel.
Nice.
Go on there, Garbo.
My number 4, well, speaking of Garbo,
S posting.
I am undefeated in this game, guys.
Boy. The one time you played it?
Yeah.
No,
He's
it's
played
been
it
like
3
three.
times.
Okay.
By Project Raygun. Talk about a game that is it's not terribly rated, so people know of it, but no one talks about it, and that's Court of the Dead.
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
No one talks about that game, and it's really good.
Oh my God,
I
it's
mean,
fantastic.
the production value is
Astronomical,
insane.
yeah.
But then there's a astonishingly good game under all that
Yes.
paint and miniatures and stuff that I have not heard anyone other than us talk about. And I don't understand. Oh, by the way, since I brought it up, it is rated like 1986.
Criminal.
Which, what I'm saying, though, is that's not terrible. That means that it's
terrible.
getting rated by
Yeah.
people.
It's not enough.
And in 2019 means it's newer as well, so that will even lower it more. So, for 3 years old, for 1900s, it's not awful.
But there's nothing.
But I've heard no one talk about
Right,
it.
and there's
Yeah.
nothing going on to draw attention to that game now.
Right.
So I think it
It's not
would
like, this
just
replaces this.
I
Yeah,
think
there's
it
not
would
really-
just sort of fade into obscurity,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And it is so good. I will never stop yelling about how good this game is. Good
It's an
pick.
insanely atmospheric area majority game. There's a lot more than that going on, but that's the main thing, kind of, is on the board. You're doing area majority and then activating abilities to make your engine kind of that you're building better.
Some of my favorite components in a game.
Yeah,
It's
again,
really good.
just the production quality of this game. I mean, it might be number 1 for me. It's
Oh,
insane,
so
the
good.
production value for this game.
It's so good.
Especially because the price also isn't insane. It's really expensive, but there are some games with good components that are just
Way more.
way more.
Yeah.
And this game, for what you're getting,
Yeah.
it's good. Anyway,
Yeah, it is good.
check it out if you like that kind of like. We're in like a limbo hell and there's skeleton
Yeah.
creatures everywhere. And, if you like that kind of theme and you like, area majority and you like, there's a whole drafting mechanic with special ability cards and everything and engine building on your own player mat and ability stuff. Check out Court of the Dead Mourner's Call if you haven't heard of it. No one talks about it.
my
And that's
gosh.
why I will.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes.
I didn't realize how low that was rated.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
insane. That's
It's criminal.
cool. So my number 4, right?
Number 4.
I've only got to play this one once, and I didn't make it all the way through to the end because it is notoriously difficult, and I got to play it at a con. This War of Mine.
Oh, that is notoriously difficult.
And
is.
I mean,
Well, you
okay,
made it
it's
to the
not-
end. It was just the end of your
End
game.
of you.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a game where you're trying to survive as just a citizen in a war-torn town, and there's 2 phases: the night phase and the day phase. And it's actually based off a video game, but this one kind of takes the
Oh, Dan, did you
interactions
know
a little
that?
further.
I did.
Oh,
I did.
It takes the interactions further. So in the day phase, you're searching around, trying to gather stuff, trying to take out rubble, trying to get food and weapons and things like that. But then the night phase happens, and that's when you're like, I have to go out and raid someone else's stuff because I'm currently out of medicine, and I know they have medicine over there. But of course, if you're raiding their stuff, now they're not going to have medicine. Or on one of them, you get to go to the church, and are you going to take from the poor box? Or
Right.
If I'm poor, it's serving its purpose.
But then there's also, what about the people who are going to be raiding you? Because you're not immune to it too. And you have to start making decisions with the other characters.
Right.
And some of them can be really difficult.
Oh, yes.
and mean.
Uh-huh.
And I hear that if you make it through to the end, you there's an epilogue system so that all the decisions you make throughout the game come back and haunt you.
oh, sure.
That's why it's on my list.
Yeah.
'Cause
Did you
yeah.
play the video game?
I have played the video game. yes.
How do you think that the transfer held up?
Pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Fans of the video game will be wondering that.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. Number 3.
Nice sync.
You guys are all wrong. Letters from Whitechapel is clearly a number 3 ranked game.
That was just one of my honorable mentions. Apparently, I'm
Boy,
wrong.
Spencer's way off because he's the
Way
only one that
off.
have it on his list.
Yeah.
Yours is 11.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is clearly number 3.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go into too much. We've talked about it a lot. Fantastic game.
My number 3, I'm going to apologize because it's probably on Dan's list, but this game thematically is freaking incredible. The artwork is amazing, and I absolutely love this game. This game really does convey the fear and tension and stress of being at the King's Ball and you want to survive, at midnight, the Mask of the Red Death.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what a fantastic experience
Love
this
that
game
game.
provides. You spend the first 90% of the game trying to figure out the information of where death is going to be moving from what room to what room, from what time to what time. And then you get to that end phase, and now you have to program your movement based on the information you have been able to gather, which is an incomplete puzzle at best. And so it is very hard to survive, but I don't care because it is so much fun, working out the puzzle pieces of the information, and then also just that stress of just trying to figure out, okay, I'm not sure where he's going to be.
This one or this one? I'm going to risk this one.
I'm going to try this one. And then you go, I picked wrong. But I don't care.
What do you mean? I didn't do that when I played.
Ooh, what? No, you didn't. Jerk. He's like, defeated.
That's right. Undefeated.
But yeah, Mask of the Red
play.
Death. Mask of the Red Death is such a good game. Very thematic. The artwork is incredible. And just a great horror-themed game. That's my number 3.
I was going to play a little coy, but you guys can already guess my top 3. We're in my top 3. You guys know my top 10 favorite games of all time, so they're in here. That was literally my number 11.
Oh,
It was
really?
the one I took off the list.
I bet if you played it one or two
More?
more times,
Maybe.
it would have cracked your
You
top
talked about
for
the
sure.
game so much, I went and bought a copy of it.
Really?
Yes.
Awesome.
So I've got it so we can play it.
Awesome. So my number 3 is my Growl game, and that is Wolves of Mercia, my werewolf game.
Yeah, that's some honorable mentions.
Talk
yeah.
about it all the
Yeah.
time. If I'm going to play a werewolf game, this is it. Well, if I'm going to play a small party
Yeah, that
werewolf
didn't even
game,
make it on my. That should be on my list. but-
yeah.
Anyways.
If I'm going to play a small werewolf party game, this is my choice by Brybelly. Again, like Court of the Dead and stuff. 14,000, guys.
Wow.
14,000 and a half.
I don't like werewolf games. This is a great werewolf game. Rank it better than that.
Yeah.
This has got to be a marketing thing.
Yeah, it's got
This
to
has got to be a marketing
small.
thing, and it's so sad to me. I saw people playing it on YouTube once, and I instantly said, I am buying that game. I went that night, and I ordered it online. It was like $15 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so cheap, and I got it in less than a week from them. They are kind of close to us.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I think they're Indiana based.
But I got it in less than a week, and it is amazing.
And for a small company game, it's really well made.
Exactly.
The artwork's
the
really good.
components and stuff are really good. The artwork's
Yes.
fantastic. It takes what so many social deduction games have problems with, and it just slightly tweaks them, and it improves all of them. It's a 5-round werewolf game. If you get to the end of round 5 and the werewolf is still alive, he wins. So there's a time limit set there. You play with every roll every game. So the whole part of the game is finding out which roles are in the game. That's a whole part of the meta game that goes into it. Is you don't even know if there's a arson in the game. You have to find out through the actions that are taken. The first 4 people that die get a secondary ghost win objective.
Yeah, I love that.
Usually, unless you have an assassin in the game, you're not really going to get that many more than 4 people dead, even on the higher player counts, because of how it's timed. There is so much good here. It's you can make, since you go through every role, you can have a recording done of the moderator so that everyone can play. There doesn't have to be a moderator for this game. It takes so many slight little nitpick problems that people have with other games, and it fixes them. It improves them. It is a fantastic werewolf type game that no one has heard about.
This is a game that I played with Dan at a meetup, and by the end of the game, I was online ordering it off of my phone.
We played with 7 people or something. It was like a mid-player count. I actually think there were at least 2, maybe 3 people online searching when we finished the game.
I believe that is accurate.
It's just that no one's heard of it.
Is the one where you have 2 roles, a daytime role and a nighttime role?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that.
it's
That's
great.
another thing. You have a daytime and a nighttime role. So every day you're doing something, then every night you're doing something else.
It's great. It's a
Anyway.
great game. It is a
Wolves
great
of
game.
America.
America. All right, my number 3, Dead of Winter.
Okay.
Yep, nice. That was an honorable mention for me.
Yeah, I mean,
Nope.
it's a zombie game. Yeah, I know you don't like it.
Yeah.
But it's a zombie game. It's a survival game.
Yep.
It's difficult. It's winter.
Oh,
It's dead.
Undead of Winter.
Undead, yes. And it's a meta cooperative, so there's obviously the one person maybe that's trying to kill everyone. And I mean, I liked the game when I played it. I only played it a handful of times, so I'd like to play it more.
It definitely has issues, but
It
does.
have
It's
issues.
fine. I
It does
own
have
it.
issues.
I actually
Wow.
think most of the issues are easily fixed by
Yeah.
not even house rules, just playing with a slightly different variation of the rule thing, like that it even kind of talks about. Like, again, to drop the big names, right? Z from Dice Tower always complains about this game. And he talks about how he hates the hidden objectives that you have to accomplish
Oh, right.
or else you don't win as well
Yeah.
with the good team. Just don't play with those. It changes barely
Oh,
anything.
sure.
Or play with them and you still win if you don't accomplish. I mean, it's so easy to fix,
Right.
Also, people talk about they don't like the way the hidden traders implemented in that game. I've played that game 20 to 30 times. I have never played with a hidden trader. Just play on the harder difficulty without a hidden trader.
Yeah,
the
you
game
don't
is
need it.
just as hard.
Yeah.
You don't need it if you don't
Yeah.
like the hidden trader in that game.
Yeah, I see what Z's saying, and I think that you're right. You could also use the the extra objective as a like a tiebreaker. Like we all
Right.
win, but
Oh,
I
that's a
actually
good
win
idea.
because I finished
Exactly.
my-
It's one of those, we all win, but I
but I,
really
win
but I
more.
won one.
Yeah, those things.
Yeah.
Sure.
I went up to you.
Again, though, people say that feels artificial. I just don't care. That
Yeah, it's a
much.
game.
It's a fun game. Like,
Yeah, have a good time with it.
my thing with Dead of Winter, it was an honorable mention for me as well, not the list. But I just don't think people really talk about. I love the dice system in that game, the action selection system with the rolling the dice, and then
Oh, I got a bite.
Any 2 or higher means that I can fight because I'm better at fighting, but you need a 4 or higher to fight. And I really like the way that dice system works in that game.
Yeah, I liked it, and I thought it was great thematically, and
It does a
deserved
lot of
spot
things
on
really
this.
well. I just think now there are other games that have come out
Lots of
that,
competition.
that I just
Yeah.
enjoy a lot more.
Yeah, that's
and I
probably
think
true.
that's why I've cooled on it so much.
Sure.
But yeah, no, it definitely accomplishes what it sets out to do for sure.
All right. Number 2. Well, already been mentioned before. Beautiful components, creepy meter. My father's work.
My number 2 is also my father's work. So
Nice.
let's just Eiffel Tower that guy.
Yeah.
My father's work is so good.
Yeah,
is.
my favorite thing about it, I think, is apart from the creepy meter, because just having a meter saying how creepy you are is just hilarious to me. Is how as you go generation to generation, depending on how you do in the previous one, as far as like, oh, there's this sickness that's broke out, make sure you're doing this action, or this is happening, make sure you don't do this too much. And depending on how much you do things, and you go to the next generation, your map is going to change accordingly. It's like
Right.
That's so awesome to me. And it's not like there's another game I've been playing, I just started, that does something kind of similar to that. But it's nice that it's all built into this book. It's a spiral ring book. Flip to that page, boom, there it is. It's done.
And you know what's interesting, because I was listening to somebody talk about it, sort of spoiler free though, is that just because you accomplish that goal doesn't mean that actually gives you like an optimal outcome.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
Almost like Red
You're,
Herring.
you're experimenting.
yeah, no.
Oh, no, I'm going to try this again. Oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Bad idea.
But there's just so many cool things that game does. Where like if you go so crazy, your spouse leaves you.
Yeah,
you know?
you have a
for-
madness
yeah,
tracker.
that's
So like
right.
you go a little mad, you start to earn some benefits. But if you get too crazy, she's like, I'm out.
Yeah, and so that means you lose a worker, right?
Yeah,
And,
unless
and
you have enough money, you can buy her back.
There's,
It's so accurate.
there's different workers that can go to different spaces, so kind of forces you to get creative with that. And this is such an experience, and I think Abomination Heir to Frankenstein is probably a scarier and creepier game, but I feel like the experience that my father's work gives me is what sets the bar,
Sure.
makes it a whole different ballgame.
Like
for
the
me.
more story.
100%. And that's why I mentioned my little caveat at the beginning. Because again, if I was literally just making a list of the top 10 board games that have a horror theme on them, this would probably be as high as your guys' for me. But I don't feel it at all. There's
Sure.
no atmosphere to me in that game. It is mechanically fantastic, production-wise fantastic. It tells a great story in a great way. I really enjoyed what we played of it so far. But like horror-themed,
I mean, even like the
that's
creepy
just
chip,
me.
it just looks like a Frankenstein monster head. Like it's not creepy.
It's
I
not.
suppose.
It's not as
horror.
scary. It's not as horrific as the Abomination Heir to
Like,
Frankenstein.
here's a
punch look.
skinned face
Yeah.
for your head. You know,
Give it to me.
Yeah. No, I agree. This one just hits right for obviously for both of us. Yeah, it's just a game that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
So yeah, right on. Good
fantastic.
pick.
Yeah.
Good pick. Number 2 for Daniel.
Number 2, again, going down my top games of all time list. Thanks for coming in. Awaken Realms.
Just all of it.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, it's either
basically.
tainted or-
So he said Ether Fields earlier. My pick is, of course, Nemesis.
Is that your number 2, Spencer?
That's almost my number 2. Lockdown.
Oh,
Oh, well, I was going to say, or Lockdown. I think Nemesis has the horror theme a little bit better than Lockdown does.
Kind of, except
Like,
that Lockdown has the whole darkness.
lighting.
thing
Yeah, I was
going
gonna
on.
say the lighting
the
system.
lighting is
They're both
sick.
really good at
You're
this.
right. You're right. Yeah, so at the end of the day, hey, look at that. It's high and it's high. The better side of the table.
I will say also though, like the cool thing about the Nemesis and Nemesis Lockdown is they are different enough in the
yeah.
experience that they provide that it warrants both. Like
Yeah.
to have in your collection, right?
Right.
It's not like,
You need
oh,
one
I
or the
already
other.
have Lockdown. I don't need Nemesis. It's like, no. While it plays mechanically the same, like it
Similar.
is a different
Yeah.
experience.
Sure, it definitely feels a bit different. I do think that Lockdown is better most ways mechanically.
Yeah, they
but,
fixed a lot of things. They added a lot of things. I loved it.
But the theming of the spaceship and stuff, I
know.
Again, my whole thing is I kind of want to play with just all the Lockdown mechanics, but like on the normal Nemesis map and
Right.
stuff, you know. And I have the play mat for
yeah,
Nemesis. and I'm like,
me
that thing
too.
was so expensive. I have to play Nemesis.
playing Nemesis.
You know?
I by default like it better.
Yeah.
But it's a game with again, it's Aliens, the board game, right? Xenomorph and everything, and this is definitely an action horror board game.
Yeah.
But you wake up with amnesia. You're going through the halls, rediscovering your ship. Crawling through vents and stuff, and then eventually aliens
hear noises?
show up. You're trying to accomplish secret missions. Some might be corporate missions where they're trying to get eggs back, and they don't care about if you die. They might even start
to
the
kill
self-destruct
someone.
sequence, or literally kill
Yeah.
someone. And other people are just trying to collect enough data to bring back to Earth to make everyone safer and stuff like that. Meanwhile, your ship is careening into space. You got to make sure your destination isn't just deep space where everyone's going to die anyway.
Right.
You got to make sure the engines are working so that when you hit the throttle, you don't just blow up.
you got to get back into the hibernatorium.
Yeah, you
before
got
all
to get back,
atomized.
of course, safe without a chest burster
Yep,
inside of you. It is a game that has a fantastic atmosphere and has never not had a story.
Oh my god, it's the most
Every
cinematic game I've
gameplay.
ever played.
Even the hell version that Bob and I went through had a story.
There was a story.
My brother and I had an amazing thing happen where he was getting chased by an alien, and I had a card that let me. It was like drag or something like that, and basically so screw the mechanics, right? Like thematically, my brother's getting chased down the hallway by an alien. I entered his position, grabbed him, and dragged him with me into a room while shooting at the alien, and then locked the door behind us. And it was a supply room, so we stocked up on supplies and ammo. And then he blew the door open with dynamite, and we walked out with high-powered weapons, shooting back at the alien. It was one of the most thematic, amazing things. Like the whole time, my brother was like while everything was happening.
Yeah.
It's just a fantastic the reason it's not my number one game of all time anymore is because you can have bad experiences with this game. I've had games that felt long. I've had games where I didn't feel like I could do much because of how my cards were coming up in my hand. But the game itself is solid mechanically and will always give you a thematic story when you play it. Even when your time isn't as great, you still remember something that happened in that game. Like, man, when he found that egg and then started the self-destruct and locked the door in front of me, oh my God.
My first ever game, it was me, Jonathan, and Caleb. And me and Caleb, we kind of defaulted together because Jonathan, his secret mission was to kill us.
Right.
And we only figured this out halfway through the game. And so he's trying to get us locked into the rooms with the aliens and stuff. And it turns out we end up getting him locked in with a fire. And the queen comes in after him. It was so good.
Karma.
Right.
It's that Paul Reiser moment in Aliens.
I was gonna say, I couldn't think of his
God,
name. I was
yes.
gonna say Paul Reiser. Yeah.
I forget his Burke. I think was his the character's
Peter
name.
Burke, is that right? Something like that. I get a couple things because you brought up Lockdown. Lockdown also has the lighting
Lockdown.
mechanic you mentioned, which is thematic as well, and the contingency system, which I
Contingency
love.
system, and there's more ways to get out. So
Oh.
you have the escape pods that are randomly going off. So
I love it.
Oh look, there was another one.
Well, it's
Well,
malfunctioning.
there's no life signs in that one, so obviously
No life forms aboard.
and
Hold your
then
fire.
Droids.
Yeah, and then
paying
you
by the
have,
laser.
There's an isolation room that you can lock yourself in until things blow over, and then there's getting actually out into the rover.
Right.
And of course, at any one point, the computer's like, "Well, our contingency plan is I'm going to kill everyone in the lockdown room."
Yep.
So you're trying to figure out what everyone else knows about the contingency plan, trying to figure out other ones so that you know which is the safe way to try to get out.
Love it.
It is such a good
Super
game.
good. Really good.
I want to play it again.
All right. Well, I know what your number one is.
Yeah.
I don't know what your number one is.
You should. It's been talked about already today.
It's got to be Abomination.
It's got to be Abomination. Aaron Frankenstein. I mean, I love this game. Like, I mean,
So it's better than my father's work. Just checking.
You just said it.
I just said it.
You did just say it.
Now, the original bits comes with these cubes that are like, they're the, what do they call them, like the clear ones?
Oh, I thought you
but
were gonna say square.
Yeah, the acrylic ones, and they're hard to tell apart. That is my biggest complaint about this game is I have a really hard time. So playing like their copy that I'd opened up, we had to like put them all in like order as they were on the cards.
Oh, sure.
So
that's a
why
good way to do it.
Yeah,
but
it's an okay way to do it. But
annoying.
I bought the upgraded bits, so now like my muscles look like muscles, my blood look like blood drops, my bones are shaped like bones.
We should point out for new viewers now that we're over an hour into this. Well, yes, the upgrade components are thematic anyway. Bob's colorblind.
Yeah.
So that's why he would complain about.
If you couldn't tell that by looking at it.
By what I'm wearing.
Oh, that shirt with those. Oh my god.
You can't see my shorts. This was I woke up
lucky.
late outfit. But no, I really enjoy the bits on there. I love like the storyline. I love how like the different characters, because you have different things too, like where you have your expertise, like your knowledge, and you can't do certain things like by bringing certain body parts back to life or together again until you become knowledgeable enough to do it. Then you also have a graph going up where you have renown, like how much people know you, and then you can get workers and people will come join you. And you also have your humanity. So as you start to do these gruesome experiences, you start to lose humanity. So you have to do certain things. That's why I like the psychopath. His humanity, 0. It's not too much. It's not too little. Just stays at 0. You can kill as many people as you want. Stays at 0.
Doesn't care.
Yeah, it doesn't care.
Yep.
But you do get in trouble with the law. But you know what they say: if it's punishable by a fine, it's legal for a price. So you just pay $3 and boom, you can go kill again, no problem. And but then like
only that much?
yeah, that's it. It's super cheap. But then every round, after the round's over, like all of your components, we'll call them, start to degrade.
Yeah,
and they get worse
it's
and
so
worse.
cool.
And so like the fresher bits you use to make your thing,
Yes.
then the more points you're going to get for it. And you can buy ice, and the ice will keep your stuff from decomposing so fast. And
So good.
Listen to the theme here.
I know.
So good.
It's so good.
So good.
There's a reason why earlier I said if I was just saying like the most thematic game, it'd be my number one.
Yeah.
You're right, Bob.
Yeah.
I just haven't played it enough and haven't
I've
like
played it a
really
ton.
gotten into it enough to like it
It's
as much
only
as
not
some
on
of
my
the
list
other
because
games.
I've
So
never
good.
played it.
Yeah,
Well,
I got to get
your
you
fault,
guys in on
idiot.
it. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I need to play it more, to be honest. But it is really good.
yeah, and like on your player board, you've got like different experiments you can do. You can get blood that way. You can send your little workers like, guy, we're just gonna need a little blood from you this time, and draw some blood from them. You got to buy the Leyden jars and get them charged. But then like every round, there's an event that happens, and sometimes there's a thunderstorm. If there's a thunderstorm, that any Leyden jars you get automatically like charge
they
up.
charge
They
up.
charge themselves. You can use animal parts. You can go to like the animal shelter and
Hey,
get
I
animal
won
bit-
doing that.
You
Don't-
did.
don't hate on
Tiger's
that.
blood, man. Don't doubt it.
You don't want to see Tim's Frankenstein.
Oh, it was weird. I still got a lot of points for it.
This is not life.
But then, like the arms have like these interlocking bits, and like you put them on the side, and they're just like bone and tissue or muscle. And then when you add the flesh on it, you flip it over, and it's fleshed out. And then you're like rolling dice, trying to zap these things with energy to bring them to life. But you can do it, poorly, and you do damage to them.
Yeah.
And like then like if it damages too much, it degrades, and then you got to like redo it again. And
Yeah.
it's
And
just
whoever
so
wins by
dramatic.
completing their body and bringing it to life has to yell, "It's alive!"
It's
over it.
alive.
It's alive.
Yes.
It's alive.
Yeah,
So
I
good.
won by rushing the animal.
Yeah, you
strategy.
didn't care what bits you were using.
No.
Just give me the bits.
No.
Throw them in there. It's fine. Yeah.
That's an ear, sir.
Yeah. Shut up. What kind of
That
brain
was
did
a
you
toe.
give me? What was the name on that gravestone? Abby?
Yeah.
Abby Normal? Yeah.
Yeah. No, great pick. It's a fantastic game. So my number one is merely a product of my childhood. Having spent the majority of my childhood in the 80s and then hitting my teens in the early 90s.
I knew it.
This game scared the crap out of me the first time I played it. It's so much fun. It required a VCR.
That's
like
a
at
videotape.
At least
so videotape is
one or two other
Picture a
friends.
CD, but really fat and rectangular.
Yeah.
But there are other versions of this game, but I played the original Nightmare, where you put in your tape, you have an hour, there's the gatekeeper who is like yelling at different players.
Question.
And there's not that gatekeeper.
Oh.
That's Crypt Keeper.
No.
But he will,
Whose turn is it?
yeah, whose turn is it next? maggot, come closer, closer. And you got to get up and like get close to the screen, because if you don't, other people get to give you like negative things if you don't do what the gatekeeper says. So that's how it keeps you in line, right?
Keeps you honest, yeah.
And then you get really close, and he's like, good, never ever get that close to me again. So they blast you, like you get all up close to it, and he just screams at you. It is amazing.
Yeah.
And he gets uglier and uglier as it gets like later on the time. He's like, oh, you're banished to the black hole, and you know, and we're all like, you know, F you, you know, yelling at the thing, but we're still trying to hurry and take all our turns.
He looks like a wish list emperor from Star Wars.
Yeah. You bought the emperor off of Wish.
Yeah.
That is what you get. But no, it is such a great experience. I had a really good time with it. So much that like we had gone back and I couldn't find the old Nightmare, but I found Atmosphere. And then that's the CD version, and there's like another version, Atmosphere, the Harbingers.
Right.
And we would take that to Comic-Cons and like just drink beer and play that game like in the hotel room at night. Like
They have it on those. I think somebody ported that to YouTube now.
Yeah,
So if you got the game, you can just watch the YouTube video.
But yeah, I think I've got the 2 CD versions in my collection. I love that game. It is stupid.
It is stupid.
It is a game you play to experience and just have fun with your friends. And if that's not why I'm playing games, then what am I doing?
Winning?
But it is the like gameplay wise the worst game on my list. But it is
the worst game.
But it was so much fun for me.
It has a lot of atmosphere.
And it really generates
and it makes
a lot
you
of
jump
fun.
though, because you'll be sitting there doing something, all of a sudden the guy like pops on the screen all of a sudden.
Jump scares.
Jump scares.
Cheap
scares.
thrill,
But I have a great time with it. Atmosphere is my number one, or Nightmare.
As soon as you said nobody else was going to have it on their list, I knew that was the game.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was going to be Atmosphere or Nightmare.
Yeah,
But
same game.
Yeah, same thing.
Same game.
Yeah.
I can't think of why, but for some reason I've never played that game before. I don't know if it's because you played it before I was born.
I see what you did there, Mr. Man. And
Never played that.
were you born before or after 1990?
Damn.
Maybe
So close.
maybe I didn't play it exactly before you were born, but maybe before you were walking.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Hi guys, I'm Dan. My favorite game of all time is Blood on the Clocktower.
Yeah, we know.
It's a horror-themed, thematic, atmospheric game. Thank you.
It wasn't on our list. 'cause
What's
I'm
your
like-
number one game for your horror themed game, Dan?
Yeah, it was on my list because I knew it was on yours. And it was your number one.
Loser.
It was on my list because I forgot it.
This is
about
the
it, 'cause I don't
best.
own it.
This is the best version. Well, I don't either. This is the best version of Werewolf that exists. Best like social deduction kind of game like that. I'm saying like the big group, kind of thing. And it, obviously how atmospheric it is going to depend on how much your group wants to make it atmospheric. Because we've had times where we've played it and it's been all quiet and creepy. We've had times that we've played it and it's been obnoxiously ruckus. Ruckus. But we've talked about it a billion times. There's like demons and minions, and then you're townsfolk, and you're trying to, you're hanging people every day and killing them, and then the evil players are killing people every night, and then everyone has special abilities, and you're using them, and it's
really
good.
what I like about it though is that there are people that I played like Werewolf with, or like Two Booms in a Room with, and they can suss out like like, you know what I mean? Like
They're like, it's him.
they can solve it.
We've had like 2 conversations.
Yeah. But they can legit solve it. They're really good, and there's a way. And I think that Blood on the Clocktower does such a great job, to my surprise, on the way that it handles its information and misinformation, and the way that the job of the storyteller is to actually like
Befuddle things.
yes, but like
in a fair way.
keep
though.
things
keep it
But
funny,
like
keep it
as Dan will describe it, as he's described it every other time, is it's like this constant tug of war between good and evil, and so you're trying to just keep it as close to the middle as you can.
Right.
And
And it's not always possible. If evil is killing it, there's
or
not
if,
much you
if
can
good
do.
is dumb.
Evil will always win
Yeah,
because good is dumb.
Who says crime doesn't pay?
Yeah, but this is a fantastic version of the game. It is the best.
And going off what you just said about it does a good job of the way it handles the puzzle solving information stuff, so that people can't just insta solve. I mean, there probably are some people that can, right? But at the same time, the caveat to that, because this will either be a pro or a negative. Like for Bob, I think it's a pro, but I can't remember. It is a puzzle and it is solvable if you can get all the information together. It's so hard to get all the information is the problem. Good guys don't want to tell the truth because evil will kill them. bad guys don't want to tell the truth because the truth is that they're evil.
The good guys will kill them.
Yeah. And so finding the truth and really like having a conversation with someone and just saying, there's a lot of times in this game, and I love the feeling, but there's a lot of times in this game where and where I've been on good and I've won, but because the way that it's happened is there are 3 scenarios going on right now. Okay, either Tim is poisoned, he doesn't know what's going on, and then that's causing this to happen. Tim is evil and he's lying about X, which affects this roll, or Tim is being, something else right now and this is happening. Here's our 3 scenarios. We are too late in the game to still be trying to math this out. I choose that Tim is evil and that he is
just pick a path and
I will just pick that path and I will see how everything makes sense in that and I will follow that path. And that might get me killed if enough other people don't agree with it. But by trying to put this puzzle together like this and that's just me. Remember that there's 10 other people in the game.
Right.
So I might be doing that, but Spencer might be putting option that Tim is telling the truth and is poisoned about this and doing this, and Spencer's following his logic. And then we'll see how our, lightning strikes of logic cross paths later, and we'll be able to make educated guesses based on what is happening with those paths. And it really does feel like you're actually deducing things in this game, unlike a werewolf game to where it's kind of like, well, let's kill Tim this turn and see if we win.
I heard his chair squeak when we all had our eyes closed.
Like there is a legitimate underground puzzle happening here that you guys are working together to put together. And
Oh,
it's
Bob's good at
fantastic.
games. Let's kill him.
Yeah.
Checks
and
out.
again, though, in this game, doesn't matter. Bob will keep playing, still putting the puzzle together in this game, so he lost his ability. Oh, well, maybe it was a one-time ability
Yeah,
anyway,
it may not
you know?
even have mattered.
Maybe Bob didn't want to use his ability that game because he was worried. There are abilities in the more advanced classes that we haven't got to where they're terrified to use their ability because what can happen? Or it was a one-time ability anyway. Bob, you're scared of always dying first, and you're the fisherman that gets to once per game ask the storyteller for like a tip on how to win. Go first day, ask the storyteller, get your information, and now you get to play the rest of the game relaxed. You know that your power's done. You've helped the team as much as you can. Kill me.
And if you're an opening...
I'll still put together all of these conversations, you know?
So you still get to have a conversation even when you're dead?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You
That's
still
one
get
of
up
the
with
cool
everyone
things.
else and talk to everyone.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
All
thought
it
last
does,
night would have been the night, too.
No, all it does is it limits you to having only one more vote for the rest of the game.
Right.
So you,
And you don't
gotta
have your ability,
better
but
make it count.
Yeah, but still.
one more yes vote for the rest of the game.
Yes.
Technically, all votes default to no. You can always vote no. Anyway, I talk about Blood. I could literally do a Blood on the Clocktower podcast. The game is that good. I will pass the torch.
Okay. Scariest game I've ever played is Monopoly.
Nice.
Mask
Well
of the
done.
Red Death.
Oh,
Okay. I kind of like the writer.
Yeah.
I'm kind of into writing. And
What?
It has so many nods to the short story.
100%.
If you haven't read the short story, you're not getting them. I know you guys don't, but whatever.
Wait,
There's a story?
Hold on.
Yes.
Do not insult me, sir. I've read Poe.
Insult me all you want.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah,
take
isn't he the
reading
guy
to
that flew
win.
the X-Wing in Star
Yeah,
Wars?
Poe Dameron. The good Star Wars.
Oh, God. Double insult.
Oh my god.
Don't go. He's out of here. We're done.
I just want to get all the hate mail again, like we did on our worst games.
For instance, in the game, you have all these rooms that are fanning out, and I believe there's 13 of them, which I believe is also in the book or the short story, and each one of them has a colored theme, which is also in the short story. There's just so much in there that I really appreciated that they included. Also, I love the gameplay of that game. I
believe they include the short story in the rule book, don't they? And the last,
I don't know.
Sick.
I thought they did.
should. It's not that long.
I'll check.
Well, that's why it's called a short
It's like
story.
3
Spencer.
pages.
I'll check when I get home.
Yeah,
It's-
Otherwise
check
it'd just be a book.
Definitely check it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Open your copy and look at it.
I will.
yeah.
Read it.
Well.
So yeah, Mask of the Red Death, good deduction game, and
Yeah, I might have to check it out.
This
Good-
is a
good theme.
I found it
fantastic
pretty cheap,
game
so.
that you came in second place of, Spencer.
yeah, I came in second place, but it was a
Hey.
50-50 shot.
You got 100%
But
second
first
place
place
on that.
First place in our hearts.
Yeah, but I really want to
Not
play
mine.
again.
I'm going to bust through some honorable mentions,
Yep, just
and then
have a
we'll
couple.
go through our list like just real fast, so like
Rip
it's
down
all
it.
in one.
Sure.
One place. Nightmare Productions is a game that we just recently played. It is a really fun and really solid horror themed game. I really like Paranormal Detectives. That is a fun interactive game. A game that I like more than Cthulhu Death May Die, which is unpopular opinion, is Mansions of Madness, specifically second edition. I think it is really good, but I didn't put it on my list. Honorable mentions. I enjoyed the Shadowgate. board game. It's not out yet, but it'll be coming. Horrified, I think, is really good. Transylvania, Curses and Traitors,
Yep,
I think
I
is
almost thought about that one.
a really fun, like, hidden gem. Elder Sign, Monster Slaughter. A kid's game that I like to play with my family is Ghost Fight and Treasure Hunters. It's not on my list because it is a kid's game, and I wanted to do more. I am a horror fan, and so I wanted to do more horror-themed games. And one that probably should have been on my list and wasn't, that's not Blood on the Clocktower, is Cult of the Deep.
Yep.
That was my first honorable mention.
Cult of the Deep is really good. And I think I just need to play it some more.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh no, I got to play Cult of the Deep more. What a terrible,
no.
what a terrible problem
What
to
about
have.
I'll say
you
Mysterium
didn't
was
say
on my
Cthulhu Wars?
No, I didn't because I feel like it's the,
It's just as horror as any other Cthulhu
Yeah.
thing.
Well, it's more like a war game.
I
It doesn't
agree.
have to be Cthulhu.
I
Right,
agree.
'cause
That
you're
is
already
still
an elder
the horror
god,
theme,
so-
though.
right.
Again, that's
Yeah,
my
you're playing
argument
as
of-
giant cosmic monsters.
Right. That's why
And they
I
don't get
don't
scared.
include games that I don't see as thematically horror, right?
Sure.
Because that is horror themed.
It is horror
But-
themed because it is the end of the universe. And,
Sure,
you
sure.
know, and you
I was just
are-
expecting
I was gonna say
honorable mention, that's all.
Mysterium.
Yep, sure.
yeah, Mysterium's a
Classic.
nice spooky game.
Cult of Deep was my number one. Dark Moon.
Dark Moon's a good one.
Enjoy Dark Moon quite a bit. And then I literally, my last one, I always have to bring this up whenever we talk about this topic. Still haven't played it. And that's why it's not on my list. But Nyctophobia.
Oh, I really
It
want
is
to. Dan and I,
such a cool. I know for
you
years.
and I have been lamenting of
I
not
know.
playing this game, and it's like $20. We need to just pick it up.
when you talked about Shadow
yeah,
Light,
yeah. Shadows in the Forest.
Shadows in the
whatever.
Forest. So Nyctophobia is a game.
same one, isn't it?
Well, it's the game where one
By a
player
blind
is
person.
Blindfolded.
is blind, or no, everyone's blindfolded except for
One
one player,
player.
and that one player has to grab their hands and guide them around the board. And as they're moving your hand, you're supposed to like feel around because you have to kind of map out the board in your head about where the walls are and stuff. Because you guys are trying to and then you can talk like, okay, guys, my hand's moving north on the east side. There's a long wall. It just turned right, and you're like describing the map because you're all trying to picture it in your head together as the character that can see is moving around and trying to kill you guys, and you guys have to accomplish your goal and get out while blindfolded. That is so
It
cool
sounds
to
super
me.
cool.
I love
It
that
sounds super
idea,
cool.
and the story behind it's fantastic. Look it
Yeah.
up sometime.
Yep, really
But,
good story.
Yeah, I have to mention Nyctophobia every time.
Yeah,
All right.
still haven't played it.
So rip through my 10.
Yeah, you're 10.
So we started off with The Night Cage, Oz, Australia, Cthulhu Death May Die, Stay Away, Zombicide Black Plague. Where'd my 5 go? The Others, Evil High Priest, Letters from Whitechapel, My Father's Work, and Abomination, The Heir to Frankenstein.
So my father's work was 3-way crossover.
Yeah.
So that's winning right now.
It is. So I've got Ghost Stories last Friday, Growl, Infection at Outpost 31, The Thing, and then Stay Away, Unfathomable, Letters from Whitechapel, and where's my number 3? Mask of the Red Death, My Father's Work, and Nightmare or Atmosphere.
Whitechapel's got 3 also.
Whitechapel, and I forgot, Abomination was on your list, right?
No.
Oh, it wasn't.
Honorable
Should've been.
mention.
Okay.
Haven't played it enough.
My 10, The Thing, Infection at Outpost 31, Betrayal at House on the Hill, The Night Cage, Abomination, The Heir of Frankenstein, Bloodborne, the board game, Letters from Whitechapel, Court of the Dead, Mourner's Call, Wolves of Mercia, Nemesis, and Blood on the Clocktower.
My top 10. Shadows in the Forest, Deep Madness, Arkham Horror, My Father's Work, Etherfields, Bloody Inn, This War of Mine, Dead of Winter, Lockdown, Nemesis Lockdown, and Mask of the Red Death.
Okay. So we
Well
got
done.
a lot of 2s and
A lot of
2
2s
3s.
and 2 3s.
Yeah, but I still feel like we covered a very wide range of games.
Yeah.
You know,
There were fewer overlaps than I thought there would be.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Only 2 3s impresses me. No 4s. For an
no, but
entire genre of games, we didn't agree on a single one, all 4 of us. That's crazy.
That
Well,
is
I
kinda
think
nuts.
that's probably because Spencer hasn't played My Father's Work
That's true.
or Letters from Whitechapel.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, you weren't here for My Father's Work when we played it?
I played, that was on my list. My Father's Work.
Oh, that was on your list.
No,
that's 'cause Tim's
Abomination isn't on my
wrong.
list. My Father's Work is my
so
number
it's a
2.
4.
That was a 4.
Oh, it wasn't on
Do
mine.
we? It wasn't on Dan's.
No, I've actually played both of those. I haven't played Abomination yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I played it once.
Thanks.
why it's on 2 lists. So, guys, what are some of your favorite games to play around Halloween? What are your favorite horror-themed games? Where are we right? Where are we wrong? What games did we miss?
There's tons of them.
We didn't miss any.
There's so
There's
many.
so many games.
We named every horror game
every
ever.
single one
made.
of
Yeah, we
was, that
did
was good.
actually. Every single one ever made. But yeah,
Try to correct us in the comments. You'll be wrong.
Yep.
and obviously this is the perfect time to say this, but like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Check out
Yeah.
our friends at the Board Game Mechanics. Jason
pretty
and Katie,
okay.
they're pretty okay.
Pretty comma. Okay.
On all the other shows at the Game Talk Network.
Yeah, check them out. They're doing all types of stuff out there.
All kinds of things.
Check
All
out the
the
Discord.
things. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Discord.
Super active Discord.
Discord's where it's at.
And actually, speaking of the Discord, real quick, I've been posting our Meeple meetups on our Discord also. So if you're somewhat close by, you'll know when our Meeple meetups are happening, and you'll get to play some games with us.
You finally met someone, right?
Yep.
No, he didn't come.
No, we didn't.
Oh.
Well, Jesse, he's like, I didn't know about this, but then you posted onto the Discord. So.
Oh no. We're
Somebody
talking
else.
about Bob Silver.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, he didn't make
He
it.
got sick.
He got sick.
So
Wow, Bob.
get well. I hope you're feeling better.
I mean, yeah, get well soon.
But anyways, guys, for the board game rundown, I've been Tim.
I was Bob.
That was Spencer.
Dan.
Never ever get that close to me again.
I won't.